We are going to learn from the book that is called Zera Shimshon. Zera Shimshon is a book, teachings written by Rabbi Nachman Michael Nachmani, and unbelievable depth of wisdom about the Parashot of the Torah. And we're going to learn about the Parasha, which we are in Parashat Korach. So there's a lot more to learn from Korach. On Friday, the name of the rabbi is Nachman Michael Nachmani, and he lived about 200 plus years ago in Eastern Europe. So there's a lot more to learn from Parashat Korach. And on Tuesday I said it's one of my favorite parashot, not because of the story, because of how much is there to learn here. So we're going to learn two parts from the parasha. The first part goes as follows. It says, Vayikach Korach, and Korach took with him a bunch of men. It says in the Midrash that, and Rashi explains that, Ufiresh Rashi, sheKorach halak al tzitzit u'mezuzah. What was the disagreement and the argument that Korach had? He specifically quoted two mitzvot. One of them was tzitzit and one of them was mezuzah. And that was what he questioned Hashem, what he questioned Moshe Rabbeinu. And he says as follows, Talit shel sha'ar minin chut echad potra. Doesn't matter what type the garment is, one string of the tzitzit will make it kosher to be a tzitzit, if it has four corners and so forth, and it would make it enough to say the blessing. So he asks, Zo shekulat chelet lo tiftor et atzma? Korach came to Moshe and said, if the talit is completely tchelet, and tchelet is a color, turquoise, it wasn't a color, the regular pigment, it was a certain snail that they found in the depth of the ocean, and when they killed the snail, the blood of the snail was this turquoise, and that's how they colored the tzitzit. Now in our generation, for thousands of years we couldn't find the snail, so we wouldn't wear the tchelet. Now they say that they found this snail, and they have the actual tchelet, and now somebody actually sent me all the information to review, to see if it's authentic or not. But nevertheless, this can be a beautiful sign that Mashiach is here, that they found the snail, and we have the tchelet. What did Korach do? Korach comes to Moshe and says, if the talit is kulat tchelet, it's all tchelet, do I need to have if the garment is all tchelet, do I need to have the tzitzit? Or does it include it? More than that, in the mezuzah, then we write on the wall, there are in the parchment two parashiot, two parts, Shema Yisrael v'Hayim Shemoah. So, Korach comes to Moshe and says, B'mezuzah shte parashiot, Bait maleh sfarim. Now if I have a house full of books, does that count more than the mezuzah? The mezuzah only have two parts of the Shema. Here I have a whole Torah. So Korach came and he questioned Moshe Rabbeinu. Now comes a big question here. What was the machloket of Korach? What was the disagreement? You think he really cared about the mezuzah or the tzitzit? He was jealous. It was all jealousy. The conclusion was very, very simple. All the commentaries agrees. Korach was jealous. End of story. He didn't care about the Torah right now. Why was he jealous? I explained that many times. I'll briefly remind you. The father of Moshe Rabbeinu, his name was Amram, and there were four brothers, and they were the sons of Kihat, the son of Levi. Moshe Rabbeinu was the oldest of the oldest, right? Now he wasn't oldest in age because Aaron was older than him, but the older son, the Bechor, was Amram, and Moshe Rabbeinu was the leader. He became the king. The next brother of Amram became the Kohen, the high priest. Now there was another three brothers, Yitzhar, Hebron, and Uziel. Yitzhar was the next brother in line, and he was the father of Korach. The last brother in line, his name was Uziel, and the son of Uziel, El-Sapan, who was younger in age, he got the position of becoming the head of the family of Kihat. So Korach was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to get it. I'm next in line. So he got upset. That's where it all started. This is jealousy. He was jealous that Elzapan ben Uziel, the son of Uziel, got to be the president. בשביל קינתו על נשיאות אלצפן בן עוזיאל, כמו שפירש רש"י, as Rashi explained to us, ומה עניין נשיאותו של אלצפן לשתי המצוות? So what's the connection between the fact that you didn't get the position to these two mitzvot? Why dafka these two mitzvot? Why did you pretend that you so care about the Torah instead of coming straight out forward and saying, yeah, I'm jealous, I think I should get the job? ויש להבין, and we have to understand שהטעם הוא לפי שקורח היה יותר חכם ממנו. First of all, we have to understand that Korach was smarter than Elzapan. Korach, first of all, it's mind-boggling. Why do you have a problem, Mr. Korach? First of all, he was a billionaire. He was literally the billionaire of the generation. More than that, he was extremely smart. He was mamash talmid chacham. He knew the Torah inside out. Why are you jealous? What's your problem? That's kind of backing up what we just said before the class. A person can be a great sage and still fall into a machloket, into an argument, and to fall into lashon hara and jealousy and all for it. Doesn't matter how long your beard is. But nevertheless, what was the problem of Korach? First of all, Korach was smarter than Elzapan. More than that, Vayanami Gadol Shea ben Yitzhar. He was greater also, older in age. He was the son of Yitzhar. That he's second to Amram, שהוא שני לאמרם. ואלצפן היה בן עוזיאל, and Elzapan was the son of Uziel, שהוא רביעי לאמרם, that he's the fourth in line. So even in age, Korach was much older. ונשיאות זה היה ראוי לקורח. And really, if you want to go technical, then Korach should have gotten to be the president of the family of Kihat. אלא שמשה עשה נשיא אלצפן בציווי הקדוש ברוך הוא. But what do you want? Moshe did exactly what Hashem said. Moshe made Elzapan the president according to the commandment of Hashem. You think Moshe Rabbeinu is doing protectiot here? Doing kombinot, as they say. Kadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe, Moshe does. Why? Shehaya yoter raui mimeno. He was more worthy in the eyes of Hashem. This is the problem of jealousy. First of all, jealousy is one of the severest sins a person can have. Is why are you jealous of somebody else that he's got a better position, he has more money, he's more successful? Hashem made him that person. Why you disagreeing with Hashem's decision? That's sometimes how pathetic jealousy is. You're jealous of a person who has more money. Hashem gave that person money, and if Hashem wants, the person loses all his money. Why what are you jealous of? You're going against Hashem. And according to what we say here, Moshe Rabbeinu decided that Elzapan will be the president because he was more worthy in the eyes of Hashem. That's who Hashem wanted to be. So what did Korach? Korach did not want to look like a fool. So he says, I'm not going to come and argue about the position of Elzapan. Let me argue about a mitzvah. So he chooses these two mitzvot, tzitzit and mezuzah. Why? שלפי הנראה שפשט הכתוב נציווינו בציצית, because according to the pshat, we were commanded to wear tzitzit. Why? כדי לזכור את כל המצוות. If you're looking at the text, why did we commanded to wear the tzitzit? That I will see the tzitzit and remember all the mitzvot. And why are we commanded to put a mezuzah? ומזוזה כדי להגן עלינו, to protect us. How do we know that the mezuzah is there to protect us? כן אמרו חז"ל, our sages have said, that Hashem said, אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא, כתוב שמי על פתחיך, ואי אתה מתיירא מן המזיקים. הקדוש ברוך הוא told us, write my name on the doors, and you have nothing to fear, but anybody will come and harm you. Not in the house, not when you're out of the house. This is a security system. והרמז, how do we know that the mezuzah is a guard? There's a hint in the word mezuzah, במילת mezuzot. Mezuzot, break the letters, rearrange them. It's zaz mavet. Death will be removed. That's it. So we know that the mezuzah is our bodyguard. Okay. וקרא כסמיך למען ירבו עמכם. And not only that, right after the mezuzah, we have the verse that says, and if you do the mezuzah, not only that, you also will gain a long life. Okay. So we have two mitzvot here that Korach decides to pick on. Now we want to know what's the connection to these two mitzvot. Korach חשב שהקדוש ברוך הוא אמר למשה שיקחו תכלת על בגדיהם לפחות חוט אחד. Korach thought, this is where it all starts. Korach thought, who told you to think? I didn't tell you to think. Sometimes we learn here Torah and we go through, we learn with the men, so we learn Gemara, Halacha, And then a person will say, but I think, I didn't ask you what you think. I'm telling you what the book says, and you are nobody to think. You are here to listen and to do. When you will be Rabbi Akiva, I'll ask you to think. You're not Rabbi Akiva, excuse my language, shut up and listen to what the book says. I'm not asking you what to think. Korach thought, I think. That's already a problem. I didn't ask you what you think. Excuse me for being so blunt. Korach thought that the Kadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe that they should take the color tchelet, turquoise, on their garment, minimum one thread. So I can take a regular garment and thread in it one thread that is tchelet, as the verse says, and this can be found in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 15, Hakanaf petil, that it has to have one ptil, one little thread of tchelet. And after that, the script added, and you should see it, and this would be for you to remember all the mitzvot. Demashma mina, we learn from that, sheikara mitzvah yazchira. So what did we learn from that? That the main part of the mitzvah is remembering all the mitzvot. Umimele, anu lemedim kshe'yeh talit kulat tchelet, yeh gam ken azchira. So what does Korach say? If the whole garment is turquoise, I will also remember the mitzvot. Not only that, the remembering will be bigger, because it's not one thread, it's a whole garment. Isn't that greater? De'i lav hachi, that if not so, lo hayalo lichtov u'ri'item oto u'zechartem. If this is the case, then you shouldn't have wrote. You should see it and remember it. Achar hakanaf titchelet, after when it says that the garment has to have a corner that has a turquoise thread. שזהו דבר הבא אפילו מן הלבן לבדו כשאדם נלבש הטלית. So if I have one little thread of turquoise, I should remember the mitzvot so much more so is when I have a whole garment. So Korach comes and says, oh, don't you, if the whole garment is tchelet, why do I need a tzitzit in it? Because it's nothing to do with the color right now. This is what Hashem commanded. And also here, במזוזה, when it comes to the mezuzah, לא היה לו לכתוב למען ירבו ימיכם. Why did the script add that you should have a long life? אלא ודאי לא הודיענו, of course, if the mezuzah is to protect me, of course I'll have a long life. But of course we learn from that it came to teach me שלפחות צריך שיכתוב שתי פרשיות. What is it coming to teach me? That you have to have at least two parts, that is called a Parasha, in the mezuzah. The first one is Shema Yisrael, and the second one is Vayayim Shamoah. But omnam im yosif lichtov od, but if you add more, yoter rashut beyado. You can add more. Technically, I can add a few more parashiyot to the mezuzah. Why not? What would be the result? Tavo lo shmira yoter mula. Will come even a greater protection. No? V'hu lehefech mima she'evin Moshe. This is what I'm saying now is what Korach is saying, not me. So and that's what, and Korach says that's what Moshe understood. Shebatalit be'inan dafka chut echad, that in talit it's enough one thread. Umemezuzah dafka these two parshiyot. So Korach comes and says, I'm sorry Moshe, you didn't get it. You didn't understand what Hashem told you. Really? Dafka in these two mitzvot, I didn't understand. Well, very interesting. Now it comes nice to understand. Now we understand from that that Korach is not going against Hashem. He's not arguing with Hashem. Because if he would argue with Hashem, if the Korach would go against Hashem, he would argue about the entire Torah. Why are you arguing about these two mitzvot? Why specifically these mitzvot? Because it seems like these mitzvot are open to an addition. I can write more on the mezuzah. I can have more tchelet than one thread, right? It's called a mitzvah she'ena gemura. I can add on it more. But it was done for the favor, for the benefit of the nation of Israel, and they'll be guarded, that they should guard the mitzvot, and they should be guarded. Therefore, so he found, so I can add more on this mitzvah, and it would be greater. ושבוודאי לא הבין משה כוונת הקדוש ברוך הוא. And most likely Moshe Rabbeinu did not understand what the Kadosh Baruch Hu said. באלו מצוות וטעה בסברתו. And Moshe had a mistake. How dare you come and say that Moshe had a mistake? But nevertheless, וכמו כן היה סובר שטעה בעניין מינוי נשיא. Moshe Rabbeinu, not only that he had the mistake with the mitzvot of tzitzit and mezuzah, he made a mistake when it came to appoint El Tzapan and not Korach. That was what Korach said. שהקדוש ברוך הוא אמר לו שימנה נשיא אחד מבני משפחת אביו. Korach says, I understand, God told you to appoint somebody from the family of your father, but it should be me, I'm the oldest. וממילא משמע שהגדול ראוי דווקא. It makes sense that the oldest should be להיות נשיא, to be the president, and not the young one, לא הקטן ממנו. אמנם לפי האמת, but according to the truth, גם בהיות כל הטלית תכלת. The reality, the truth is that even if the entire talit is turquoise, עם כל זה ציווי המקום הוא דווקא בחוט אחד. But nevertheless, the commandment is one thread. Why you want to paint it all in תכלת? Go ahead. But in order for it to be a kosher tzitzit, it has to have one. ולא בכל הבגד, it doesn't have to be the entire garment. ומשום כך אין לתמוה אם קורח שהיה יותר גדול מאלצפן בחוכמה. Now we can't wonder the fact that Korach was smarter in the Torah more than Elzapan, and not only that, he was older than him in age. Im kol ze, with all that, לא רצה בו הקדוש ברוך הוא. הקדוש ברוך הוא says, I don't want you as the president. I want Elzapan to be the president. כמו שלא רצה בטלית כולת תכלת. The same way that the הקדוש ברוך הוא did not want a whole garment made out of turquoise. So we see, at least to conclude from this part, that Korach's problem was an argument over Moshe Rabbeinu, not about the mitzvot. The mitzvot was just a fake way to get into it. But nevertheless, an excuse, yeah, he was jealous. Now let's see what we come and learn from all this. Tuesday, if you were in the class, and if not, go look at it online, I explained that Korach was not the problem. Korach, yeah, he was jealous. Big deal. Half this world is jealous. 99% of this world is jealous. But nevertheless, Korach was not the problem. Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'll deal with Korach. We said that Datan and Aviram, they were the problem. But nevertheless, I don't want to repeat the entire class. Go and watch it if you weren't here online. There was very, very powerful message to understand that the troublemakers were Datan and Aviram, not Korach, and not On Ben Pelet, and not the rest of the guys. But nevertheless, let's continue. Let's see what we can learn something very powerful from this. It says in the Talmud, in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 110, it says, Vayakom Moshe ve'ilech el Datan ve'Aviram. When Moshe got up, he didn't go to Korach. He went to Datan and Aviram. Why are you going to Datan and Aviram, Moshe Rabbeinu? They are troublemakers. And I don't want to repeat everything that I said on Tuesday. Go watch the class. I explained the mind-boggling idea that Moshe Rabbeinu goes to Datan and Aviram. Why are you going to them? They're going against you for the last 60 years. Amar Resh Lakish. Comes a Tana from the Talmud, Resh Lakish. Mikan she'en machzikim b'machloket. From what do we learn from that? That you're not allowed to be involved in any type of disagreement. Moshe Rabbeinu is a great rabbi, and he says, I will not be involved in any type of argument. I will humble myself. I will degrade myself. I will go down in my level to the ones who are causing argument against me. Why? I don't want to be involved in any type of an argument. This is the level of a great Moshe Rabbeinu. So Resh Lakish learns from that. You are somehow involved in a machloket, even if you are a gazillion % right. You still go to the person that slanders you, goes against you, hates you, conspire against you. Why? Just not to be in a disagreement. The Amarav, another sage from the Talmud, says, any person, his name is Rav, any person, kol hamachzik b'machloket over belav, any person that has a disagreement, every second he's doing a negative sin from the Torah. Lav means a prohibition from the Torah. What's the prohibition? In this Torah, in this Parasha, we learn, this can be found in chapter 17, verse Hey, Ve'lo yeh ki Korach va'adato kasher diber Hashem beyad Moshe. You're not allowed to get into a disagreement, to an argument. Don't be like Korach. Whoa, that's a pretty harsh statement. Why are you saying you should not have a disagreement like Korach? When it comes to the Torah, when it says don't murder, it doesn't say don't murder like so-and-so. Don't steal like so-and-so. We find here a prohibition from the Torah that is attached to a person that did it. Don't have a disagreement like Korach had. Oh, that's not good for Korach's resume. But nevertheless, Rav says that any person that's holding a disagreement, he's constantly is activating a negative prohibition from the Torah. Ravashi, another sage, says, Amar ra'ui litztareah. A person that has a machloket, a disagreement, he should be punished with tzarat, with leprosy. Techa will find out why he says that. Ktiv, where do we learn that? That a person comes to a disagreement or slandering, that he should get tzarat. We learn that from Moshe Rabbeinu. Go back to the book of Shmot, chapter 4. Moshe Rabbeinu spoke Lashon Hara about the Jew, about Bnei Israel, to Hashem. What did Hashem tell him? Ktiv, ha'acha b'yad Moshe lo, u'ktiv ha'atam, vayomer lo Hashem, od havana yadecha b'chekecha. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, go get the nation of Israel out of Egypt. Moshe Rabbeinu says, what if they're not going to listen to me? Hashem says, I asked you to give commentary here? Why are you talking Lashon Hara about the nation of Israel? And he tells him, put your hand in your under your hand, in your armpit, and he had leprosy on his hand. Don't talk Lashon Hara about my nation. Don't tell them. Don't come to speculation. What if is not a good question to ask. Nevertheless, so we learn that you talk a little bit Lashon Hara. This, according to Ravashi, a person should have tzarat, leprosy. Just to make a side note, in our generation, we don't have leprosy. But the Arizal says that the leprosy in our generation goes on the neshama. That's why people have depression, sadness, anxiety, fears, confusions, all these. Why? There's leprosy on the neshama. And the neshama goes cuckoo. Not that I'm now saying 100%, but in many cases, people that have emotional, mental, and all sorts of problems, a great chance, first of all, 100% is coming from the soul, but a great chance it's coming because of that. People don't notice. They talk Lashon Hara all day long, they see nothing happens, okay, nothing happens. But nevertheless, many things happen. Okay, let's continue. Kashe, it's hard to understand. Lama belav. Why, when a person is holding a disagreement, he's failing in a negative mitzvah? Ze amar hakatuv velo yeh kekorach, because the script says, the text says, that if you hold a disagreement, you're like Korach. Velo katav lav grida, but it doesn't say the word lo. When it says to murder, lo tignov, lo tirtzach. Said to steal, lo tignov. We just read that now in Shavuot, the Ten Commandments. How come when it comes to a disagreement, it doesn't say lo? It just says don't have an argument like Korach. Why doesn't it say the word lo? In order for me to know not to do something, then it has to word the word lo. Look at most of the prohibitions in the Torah, it has the word lo. Lo tevashel gdi b'chalev imo. Don't mix meat and dairy. I have the word lo. Lo tilbash sha'atnez. Not to mix wool and linen. We talked about it last week. So I have to have the word lo. How come here I don't have it? Isn't it enough to say the word lo? Where do I see when it has the word lo? Lo tirtzach, lo tinaf, don't commit adultery. Shelo katav lo tirtzach keploni. It doesn't say don't murder like so and so. Don't commit adultery like so and so did. Here is the only time that it says don't have an argument like Korach. Okay, now let's understand. Yesh להבין שבה כתוב להשמיענו טעם חומר אחר. We have to understand the script. The text is coming to tell me, teach me the severity of the sin. שכל מי שמחזיק במחלוקת, any person that goes into a disagreement, בין אם יהיה עלוב או עולב, doesn't matter if you're right or not, that you can be the one who's right, and you get into a disagreement, and you can be the one that you're 100% wrong, and you still get into the disagreement. It doesn't matter. וממילא אנו מגיעים לסוף טעותו וטיפשותו של קורח. What would be the result? Look how he's using the word, the stupidity of Korach. Doesn't matter right now if you're right or not. Let's say Korach for 1 second, let's say you're right. What are you arguing? Why are you getting into a disagreement? Come quietly to Moshe Rabbeinu and say, listen, I think there was a mistake here. I should be the one. So anyone who goes into a disagreement, right or not, he says here, what would be the end? The stupidity of Korach. שהרי כל אחד מישראל יש לו על פניו צלם ודמות אלוקים. Why is that called stupidity? Because every person, you know what he has on his face? A tzelem, a godly figure, an image of God. Every person has that. unless they do severe sins, by the way. ונמצא שמי שמבזה חברו, מבזה, השכינה עומדת עליו. Now if I go and disgrace another person, and again we use the word מבזה, what did Google say? Disgrace, and what was the other one? Degrade. If I degrade somebody else, what am I doing? I'm degrading the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah means the feminine aspect of the divine that is on the person's head. So I'm not only degrading the person, I'm doing a greater harm, and I'm degrading the Shekhinah that is standing on that person. And our sages have said, this can be found in the tractate Sanhedrin, B'sha'a she'adam mitzta'er, when a person is being punished because of his sins. In case you know and don't know or do know, you do a sin, you get punished. That's how it works. There's no discounts here. Unless you did tshuva, and some people will tell you, no, it's okay, you're a good person. But you did a sin, there's going to be a judgment. If you don't do tshuva, you're going to get punished. That's how it works. It doesn't matter who you are. But nevertheless, it says in the Talmud, can be found in Tractate Sanhedrin, page 46, B'sha'a she'adam mitzta'er, when a person is being going through sorrow because of his sin, and by the way, I can't tell you in percentage, but now just to be giving some type of an idea, 50 to 80% of the hardship that you go through is because of your own sins. It's because I did a sin, now I get punished, and I don't understand. Another percentage can be a test, can be from a previous incarnation, which is still rectifying a sin, it can be whatever. But the majority is because of I did a sin, now I pay for that. And I don't understand why my back hurts me. Why somebody bumped into my car. How come the boiler exploded? Why this is not working out? That's not working out. Well, you sin and you have to go through hardship. It's called Yisurim. So when the person goes through hardship because of his sins, Shekhinah ma'omeret. You know, above the person, the Shekhinah is the feminine aspect of the divine. What does it say? Kaleni miroshi, kaleni mizro'i. When a person is very, very tired, he's heavy, can't move. So the Shekhinah says, I'm heavy, I can't move, because the person is suffering now. It's not going against the person, you're a bad person. The Shekhinah says, the person is suffering, I'm suffering. So what do we learn from that? We learn from that what's called so much more so. So much more so how much the Shekhinah is suffering when the person even didn't do a sin and is still suffering. Somebody goes now and slanders another person, the person now is suffering a lot from that. Just imagine how much the Shekhinah is suffering. So much more so, lachat kama vekama, the Shekhinah is suffering when I'm suffering because I did a sin, I'm punished. Can you imagine how much it's suffering because somebody does something to me, I didn't do anything? ואף אם יחזור זה הנעלב ויבזה אותו, יהיה חוטא, שהרי מבזה אותו צלם ודמות שיש לו לעולב. Now when a person comes now and he makes fun of another person or disagrees with him or goes into an argument, slanders him, degrades him, you are going against the demut, the tzelem of that person. More than that, ועוד שאינו רשאי, you're not allowed to do that. You know why? שאם המלך מלכי המלכים דהיינו, דיוקנו נתבזה עמו. Now, if I'm now slandering another person and I'm going against another person, I'm degrading another person, I'm going against the Kadosh Baruch Hu, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu has his shine upon this person. Now comes even more than that. If Hamelech Malchei Hamlachim, if the Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hainu means the image of Hashem, Nidbazeh imo, he becomes also degraded. But the Kadosh Baruch Hu forgives. Mochel al elbono. Kadosh Baruch Hu is very quick to forgive. Hu en lo liot yoter chashuv miboro. Now you're pretending that you're more important than your Creator. The Creator is saying, "I'll forgive," and you don't. Oy va'avoy. Well, you're pretending you're greater than Hashem. Oy va'avoy. There's a verse in the book of Eov that it says, "Ha'enosh me'eloha yitzdak." A wicked man can a mortal be more righteous than God? Oy va'avoy, if you're putting yourself in this situation that you think that you're greater than God, oy va'avoy. V'dai levet liot kerabo, you have to be like your master. If your master forgives like this, forgive too like that. That's why the text said, ולא יהיה טועה כמו קורח. Don't do a mistake like קורח. שחשב להתרעם על משה. He had the chutzpah to go against Moshe Rabbeinu. Where do you come up with that? Do you understand what you're doing here? You're not going against Moshe, you're going against Hashem. וממה נפשכם וזה המקום ברוך הוא. This is like going against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You understand what you're doing here? Not only that, ועוד, more than that, אף בזאת הקורח. He had also another mistake, קורח. שאפילו תימה שהקדוש ברוך הוא לא ציווה למשה דבר מליבו, בדע אותו. What are you questioning what Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to do? מכל מקום, הואיל שראה שהקדוש ברוך הוא שתק, קורח saw that the הקדוש ברוך הוא is not doing anything, הוא מחל, and he forgave, ולא עיכב על ידו, and he didn't stop him, ואדרבה, שחטה השכינה על ידיהם במשכן, the שכינה still dwelled in the משכן, היה לו לשתוק גם הוא. He should have speak quiet right away. The fact that he didn't see the Kadosh Baruch Hu right away coming into anger, Korach could see with his own eyes. Wait a minute, now Hashem is upset, the Shekhinah will not dwell in the Mishkan. The Shekhinah was still there. Just the fact that Korach should have understand, if Hashem forgave and he's still here, the presence, right away, zip your mouth. Shut up, don't continue even. V'hainu, Hi, the Amrinan בפרק ג' דנדרים, we find again in the Talmud, in Tractate Nedarim, page 22, Amar Rabba Barav Huna, Kol Adam HaKoes, Rabba says in the name of Rav Huna, any person that has anger, אפילו שכינה אינה חשובה כנגדו. The Shekhinah is removed from him. A person has anger, right away, the presence of God is removed from that person. Where do we learn that? We learn it from Tehillim. David HaMelech says in Tehillim 10, chapter 10, verse 4, and he says, a wicked man at the height of his anger. The anger, we call it that the anger is in the nose. And when a person is angry, then the Shekhinah is removed from that person. Oy va'avoy to lose the presence of the Shekhinah around you. More than that, Odamar Ravashi said, we quoted that, this person has to be to get leprosy. Now we have to understand what's the connection between the leprosy and the disagreement. I understand leprosy and Lashon Hara, but why leprosy and disagreement? We have to understand, a person who has holding a disagreement, doesn't matter who he is, he can be the chief rabbi of the world, he holds a disagreement, is called מחזיק במחלוקת, מזלזל בכבוד שמיים. You know what he does? He completely disgrace the כבוד שמיים, the honor of Hashem. What does it mean, לזלזל? One way to translate לזלזל is headless or headless. You correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Headless, לזלזל. No, not headless. You write it H-E-E-D-L, heedless. Sorry? And the other one, the lezazel, is irreverent. Is to completely to disregard and but the honor of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. That you have to be a complete fool to do such a thing. To lezalzel b'Kadosh Baruch Hu, this is mamash a disgrace. So a person that is holding in a disagreement, no, I'm not going to forgive, I'm going to go against this person. Doesn't matter if you're right or not, it doesn't matter. Mezalzel b'kvod shamayim. You have this unbelievable zilzul in the honor of Hashem. Ve'eno choshesh l'tzelem hakadosh sheyesh lo v'lechavero. Now, why does he say stupid? The word stupidity, tipshut, because he doesn't think of the tzelem that is on his friend and the tzelem that is on him. Now, if you're ignorant and you don't care about your friend, fine. But yourself, you have a tzelem elokim on you. B'tzelem elokim nivra adam. In the image of God we were created. Now, if I have anger, disagreement, lashon hara, this tzelem is removed. So think of yourself. Don't think of the person that you are arguing with. Im ken, midah keneged midah. The same way what you do, that's what you get. This is called measure for measure. Yistalek me'alav hatzelem hakadosh. Then the tzelem, the godly image, is removed from that person. Now what happens? First of all, he says, "V'kodem shetirgem unkulus." Unkulus is a translator. He translated mitzoras giru. Then what do you do with a person that has leprosy? You have to isolate him. You have to move him away from the camp. It says in the Zohar, this can be found in Parashat Vayikra. It's actually in the book of Vayikra, page 45. It says, "Mai sgiru." What does it mean to isolate him? Sgiru dechola. You isolate yourself completely from what? Constantly we have godly lights that are shining on us. When a person is removed, like a person has leprosy, he removes himself from this godly light that is shining on him. Now, by default, what happens? It says here, "Shesagru me'alav kol orot ha'kedusha." All the godly lights that are shining on him, they shut them down. You have nothing above you. Umishum hachi, and because of that, badad yeshev michutz ha'machane. You have to sit by yourself outside of the camp. Why? Vetameh. You called tameh. You called impure. Why? Ki b'istalek ha'kedusha tachul ha'tumah. Once the kedusha is removed, what comes instead of kedusha? Tumah, impurity. So the person who is holding the argument, the kedusha is removed from him. The person now is impure. He's like a metzora. Shem yerachem. Ve'od, and more. Mi shemachzik b'machloket, a person that is holding a disagreement. Ve'rotze li'inakem mi shebize oto ocher po. Now, that's even worse. Somebody did something bad to you. I'm going to revenge. I'm going to show him now. That's even worse. Why? A person did something bad to you, or disgraced you, or hurt you, and you want to go and have revenge. First of all, we're not allowed to revenge. But it says, "Al karchach tzich lomar shemipnei shebivizayon ze ba elav shelo kadin." Obviously, let's say the person did something that you are right, 100%. But this lawsuit, this argument, whatever, it came shelo kadin. It didn't come in the right way. Mishum hachi rotze linakem mimeno. Somebody does something to me now, and I know I am 100% right. Right? Let's say somebody comes now and slanders my name, talks bad about me, and because of that, everybody's against me or whatever, and I can come and say, wait a minute, I didn't do anything. This is called shelo bakedin. I didn't do anything. If I did something, I understand. Okay, I got caught, but I didn't do anything. Now let's say that this is the situation. Now say, oh yeah, I'm going to show him. I'm going to show this guy. I'm going to know. This is revenge. Because he did it to me. I think that I'm 100% right. Now let me do revenge. I'll revenge to him. But why are you not allowed to do that? If you think in your mind, wait a minute, yesh din ve'yesh dayan, there's a judge in the heavens. What do you think, this happened by chance? No. Ve'en adam nokef etzba'o lemata, ela im ken nigzar alav milamala. There's a Talmud that says, you don't even move your finger like this unless it was decreed in the world above. So if somebody comes and does something against me, and I think, oh yeah, he did that against me, I'm going to go and revenge, I'll retaliate, I'll do the same thing to him 10 times more. Wait a minute, you don't think there's a judge in the heavens that allowed that person to say that? Wait a minute, you're going now against the Kadosh Baruch Hu 10 times more. Why? Why you want to go against the person who did that thing to you? Don't you understand that Hashem sent that person? Hashem allowed that? This was in the will of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So if I'm now upset at Mr. So-and-so because he slandered my name, he disgraced me in public, he whatever he did to me, he embarrassed me, he went against me, and I'm upset now at the person I wish to revenge, don't you understand that Hashem sent that person to do that? How dare you get upset at that person and even seek revenge? Ela sheliach hamakom, he's a messenger of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shebechol HaKadosh Baruch Hu oseh shlichuto. And any person that does anything to you, he's doing it in he's a messenger of Hashem. Happened to be that Hashem chose this person to be the messenger. I talked about it on Tuesday. Everywhere you go, there's a certain nudnik that's going to do something to you. And you are so ignorant that you're getting upset at the person? Hashem sent that person. Where do we see the perfect example for that? Go to the book of Shmuel 2, Shmuel Bet, chapter 16. There's a story that David HaMelech is on his way, and a certain individual Shimei ben Gera comes and he starts stoning David HaMelech, and he starts cursing him. Murderer, who let you be a king? Look how much blood you have on your hands. And he's cursing him. Now next to David HaMelech stands the bodyguard, Avishai ben Tzruya. Right away, he puts his hand on the sword. Let me cut his head off. How dare he talks to the king like that? David HaMelech was already king. So Avishai ben Tzruya right away pulls out his sword and he tells David HaMelech, let me, I beg you, let me cut his head off. David HaMelech tells him, no, don't do anything to him. Hashem amar lo kalel. Hashem told him to curse. Don't kill him. He's a messenger of Hashem. Perfect example where you see a normal individual, a leader like David HaMelech. He gets upset. David HaMelech could flick his finger and Shimei ben Gera would be his head would be disattached from the body. But right away David HaMelech says, no, let him curse. You think the curses, they do anything? And if I'm supposed to be cursed, then Hashem sent him to curse me. I'm going to seek revenge now. Hashem wants him dead, then let Hashem kill him. Nimtza shelefi da'ato. What do we find here according to the person that is seeking to revenge? Azav Hashem et haaretz. Hashem is not included here. If somebody now does something bad to me, and I get upset at this person, on the spot, what am I saying? Hashem is not involved. How is he saying in here? Azav Hashem et haaretz. Hashem left the world. Kedat hashotim. Like the opinion of the fools. Harishonim, the first fools. V'nikra kofer ba'ikar. That person is called that he's going against the entire Torah. He's rebelling and going against Hashem. Mamash. V'zeu kol hakoes, afilu shechina ena chashuva k'nedo. That's why our sages say, any person that has anger, the Shekhinah is removed from him. You are now empty. There's no kedusha around you. Right away, you are stuck in the klipa. Now comes the punchline of the entire class. And I'm not going to say the last three words, but let me just recap. So we see a certain individual that really has nothing to complain. I'm talking about Korach. He's rich, he has money, he has political status, he's a genius in the Torah, he has everything he wants. But one little detail he's not happy about. Why him and not me? Oh, that's the problem of mankind. Why him and not me? And I told you that the Even Ezra, I told you that on Tuesday, says that usually jealousy is for somebody that is close to me. I'm not jealous of some big rock star. I'm not going to be a rock star. I don't even know how to sing. I'm not jealous of some great athlete. You know who I'm jealous? Somebody who's next to me. Why him and not me? I could have get that. More than that, usually the ones who have this great jealousy for somebody else, our sages teach this is somebody who's rasha, somebody who has a lot of evil. Why him and not me? And usually these ones, they have a lot. Be happy with what you have. Usually the rasha, the wicked person, Hashem will give him money, will give him a wife, kids, status, fame, control, anything. You have everything. Korach, you have everything. That's what you want, a little title? That's your problem. Why him and not me? That's the big problem. Kina'ah, jealousy. He goes now and he does the worst of all. He goes against the Gdol Hador, the leader of the generation. You have nobody else to mess with. You're going against Moshe Rabbeinu. So first of all, we see here how severe the jealousy here. What does it birth? Hate and resentment and arguments and disagreements and lashon hara. But here we dissected another big problem. The concept of machloket, of an argument. Don't be involved in an argument. Now if somebody's arguing with you and you're not involved, that's a whole different thing. But if you have an argument with somebody, go and fix it up right now. That's why, what did we start with? The Talmud says, Vayakom Moshe. Moshe says, wait a minute, there's an argument. Whoa, I'm not going to sleep if there's an argument. You have a problem with me? What's your problem? Let's work it out. What do you want? Let's work it out. Now, it doesn't mean that he will work it out. Obviously, with this case with Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't work it out. How do we know he didn't work it out? Korach turned around. I don't want to talk to you. He goes to Datan and Aviram. We're not coming out of the tent. I did my part. I came. That's it. Don't carry an argument. Somebody's arguing with you, come and say, what do you want? Let's dissect the problem. I'm not going to sleep if there's an argument. Don't live in a state of an argument, a machloket. A machloket is a disagreement. Now, why? Because when a person is holding a disagreement, doesn't matter right now, what did he say here? Doesn't matter. Yeh aluv or olev. Doesn't matter, you're right or you're not right. You're still involved. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're right or not. Nobody's asking you if you're right or not. Because the second that you hold a disagreement, the Shekhinah is removed from you. All the godly lights that are shining on you, we don't see that. But there's constantly a shefa, an abundance of godliness is bestowed on me. Now, wouldn't you want to stay constantly under this godly light? Why you move yourself away to be in the darkness? You move yourself away, right away kedusha is removed, right away will be tumah, impurity. The person puts himself in the klippah, in the control of impurity. Now the person doesn't understand why they have bad thoughts, bad behavior, weird dreams, fears, anxiety, depression, anger. Their speech is impure, their action is impure, their thoughts is impure. What's wrong with me? Well, your legs are stuck in tumah. So comes the Torah and says, don't be in a disagreement. Don't be a Baal Machloket. This is a very, very severe problem to be in a disagreement. Now we went one step ahead by saying, but I didn't do anything. He's attacking me. I didn't do nothing. I'm a goody two-shoe, or however you say it. I'm perfect. I didn't do nothing. He's coming against me. But I'm going to show him. He says that about me? That's what he said? Oh yeah? Somebody not too long ago came and told me, so-and-so said this and this about you. Okay. He told me, you don't get upset? No. Why, is it true? No, it's not true. So why don't you get upset? So who cares? So he said that. Okay, he said. How come you're not getting upset? Because I'm not a fool. If I would be a fool, I would get upset.
I am not, or I am?
No, I'm not. As I'm telling you, if you not too long ago, somebody came and told me so-and-so said this and this about you. It's okay. So he says, how come you're not getting upset? So I told him, because I'm not a fool. If I would be a fool, I would get upset. So he said, Azma, big deal. I don't even know how to translate in Hebrew, in English, Azma. So what? So he said, big deal. So the person told me, is it true? I said, no, it's a complete lie. So how come you're not getting upset? Because he said, so what? So he's a fool. I should go down to his level. Let him say that. But don't you care that now people listen to him? So let them. So they're the fools too. What do you want from me? I'm going to go now in the city and start telling people, listen, he's telling you lies. I don't care. That's his problem. It's not my problem. I didn't do anything. Now, where did we take it to the next step? That a person in that situation says, oh yeah? Now you're going even the worse. So what if it didn't come to you in the right way? And you don't deserve it. You know how many times things happen to you and you say, but I don't deserve it, it's not fair? I'll give you a quick story quickly before we're done so we can conclude the class. Many, many years ago, when I became observant, I went to learn in yeshiva. Now, I didn't have money. I needed to somehow support myself. I was 29 years old. So what did I do? I learned half the day and half the day I worked somewhere. Where did I work? I had a car. I used to do car service. In our day, they do Uber. Then they didn't have Uber, but I would do something equivalent to that and make a few dollars to just to have some money. Okay. One time, the owner of the car service, he got very upset because somebody in that neighborhood saw that it's a good business. He bought a van and he started doing car service. Ooh, and he got upset. So the story goes very, very short. I'm still giving you the short version. The person who bought the van went and hung all over the town, the neighborhood, these signs that that you rip the part at the end. So the owner of the business where I worked, he went and he ripped them all like a crazy man. He went in the street and ripped them all. The office of this car service was in a building that was owned by a very, very great rabbi. The top of the building was a kollel. The rabbi was one of the rabbis of the Beit Din, a genius in halakha, and to have some parnasa, he rented the offices below. Okay, so the rabbi sees him, tells him, what are you doing? You look like a fool, going like a crazy man in the city and ripping all the signs. No, this guy, I'm here for 15 years, he just came and he's doing hasagat gvul. He's coming into my territory. And what does he tell him? And he's taking all my customers. That's when the rabbi stepped in and told him, let me tell you a story. There was once a little shtetl, a little village where everybody lived together, and in the shtetl was a market, and in the market, the way the market worked was one long road, and everybody, all the vendors would come and put their merchandise. And there was only one way to get into the market. You go all the way to the end, you make a U-turn and you come out. The butcher was all the way at the end of the market. One day somebody comes and opens another store as a butcher in the entrance of the market. So everybody goes in and they see the store is right there and they buy from him. They don't go all the way to the end of the market to the old butcher. Somebody came and told the old butcher, don't you care that so-and-so just opened the exact same store in the entrance of the market? He says, no. Yeah, but he's taking your customers. What did the butcher answer? He might be taking my customers, but he's not taking my parnasa. So the rabbi told this guy, this person might be taking your customers, but he's not taking your parnasa. He's not taking your livelihood. This is coming from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So something happens to you, how dare you get upset at the person who did something to you? Nobody did anything to you. This is coming directly from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and you have to humble yourself and say, that's the will of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Why am I saying that? Because most people get upset very fast when somebody does something against them, and right away you fall into the argument, into the disagreement. And from that will come jealousy and hate and lashon hara and slandering and fighting and disagreements and revenge and this and who needs this headache? So what did we conclude in the last part? A person who does that, let me read a little bit back. A person that does that, נמצא שלפי דעתו עזב השם את הארץ. According to his opinion, Hashem left. Hashem is not here. Hashem didn't send that person to slander me, to lie against me, to cheat me. Where are you living? This is kedat hashotim harishonim. This is the way fools think. You don't understand that Hashem sent you? V'nikar kofer ba'ikar. Now you're called that you're going against the entire Torah. Mamash. V'zeu kol ha'koes. That's why our sages say, Ravashi says, any person that has anger, Shechina eina chashuva kenegdo. The Shechina is removed from him. But here comes the punchline. V'lehefech mi shemochel. And on the contrary, the one that forgives. How many times somebody did something bad to you? Forgive. Forgive, let it go. It comes from Hashem. So he says, the one that doesn't forgive, the one that has anger and revenge, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to show him, and I'm going to... He's a fool. He kofer ba'ikar. He's like he goes against the entire Torah. The Shekhinah is removed from him. But the same severity, transform it now to positive when you forgive. Let go. Forgive. Big deal. So somebody said something against you. So what? Somebody did something. Somebody said something. Who cares? Forgive. That's Moshe Rabbeinu. Vayaka Moshe vayelech el Datan Aviran. Datan and Aviran, 60 years, were constantly going against Moshe Rabbeinu all day long. Moshe Rabbeinu thinks, I'll go to their level. Let me forgive. Let go. So one of the most profound messages we learn from the Parasha is not the slandering, not the jealousy, not the anger. Big deal, that everybody has. Learn not to fall to that trap. Forgive right away. So-and-so said something. That person that came in and told me, that person says, forgive, I don't care. Think I care? Forgive right away. Why? Because I don't want the Shekhinah to move away from me. Why should I be the fool? I get angry, now I remove the Shekhinah from me. So what's the conclusion? Velehefech mi shemochel. Always be on the side that you give in, you forgive, move on. Kadosh Baruch Hu has everything under control. Don't fall into any type of disagreement, argument, hate, resentment, machloket. Who needs this headache? What's the result? The ground opens under your feet. So a person that lives in a machloket constantly, in a disagreement, kofer ba'ikar, goes against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You want to be from the ones who goes the other way around, and so much more so the ones who forgive. Just be quick to forgive. Exactly like we read, midah keneged midah. You quick to forgive. Hashem quick to forgive you. Have a beautiful rest of the week.